Yes, indeed. Good morning, everybody. Again, Business Express right here. Okay, Olayemi Olamofe, of course, analyst with ARM Securities. Olayemi, we've got an MPC meeting started yesterday. I believe it concludes today. Monetary Policy Committee. Are they going to surprise us? Do you expect them to hike the benchmark interest rates, or actually maybe even cut the benchmark interest rates, or steady as she goes and keep things as they are? What do you think?
Okay, thank you so much, Rotus. Looking at current macro realities, it supports a reason for them to hold the rates at current levels. I mean, if you look at inflationary numbers, since the start of March, since April 2021, we started to see inflation trend downwards. Currently around 17.75% as of June. Of course, if they want to hike the rates, I mean, the purpose would be to kind of stem inflationary numbers in the first place. But naturally, inflation is expected to decelerate going into the year for a number of reasons. One is the fact that we have a high base effect for last year, which is feeding to those numbers, and so those numbers naturally should go down. Two is the fact that the food basket, which has been a major driver of inflation, of course, since we are going into harvest season, we're expecting that month-on-month numbers should start to moderate, and that should moderate year-on-year numbers as well. And so, by default, the inflation numbers should go down into the year, and so that doesn't really support a reason for them to hike rate in the first place. If you look at growth numbers, I mean, there was if you go through media and go by what the media released, I mean, Punch specifically talked about the economy not doing so much in May. I mean, the economy did not really do so much well, so much in May. Q1 GDP number was just 0.51%. I mean, we are not really out of the woods. I mean, growth numbers are still quite soft, quite fragile. And so there will be this body language to kind of support growth as we've seen in the past. And so that is still very much on the table. That is two. Secondly, and thirdly, if you look at global happenings, I mean, the US Fed, yes, there are talks around them trying to taper down the bond purchase program, but definitely not this year, because globally, everyone is still trying to recover from the impact of the pandemic. So if you go through these numbers of reasons, it suggests that what they will at best do is to keep rates at current levels, and of course, you will not also see a case for them reducing the monetary policy rate, because again, that is like you trying to put upward pressure on inflation, like kind of increasing money supply. And you agree with me that even though inflation numbers are coming down, I mean, relatively speaking, they are still very high. I mean, at 17.75%, that's quite alarming. If you compare to some nations in Africa where you are seeing some numbers at single digits. So I mean, the best case for them now is to keep rates at current levels. I would not expect a surprise. I would expect that they would maintain status quo.
All right. And we've seen that South Africa did that last week. I think we're also looking to hear from the MPC in Ghana and also Kenya as well. So, I mean, across the continent, it looks like it's everybody's going to be holding things steady.
Yeah, very well, true.
Yeah. Okay, interesting stuff. Olayemi, so that's the MPC. There's been a number of headlines coming out from the education sector. For one, President Buhari I think he's in London right now for an education summit. The summit is going to be hosted by Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of the UK. Uhuru Kenyatta, President of Kenya, is also going at that summit as well. So there's supposed to be a pledge towards the financing of education at this summit. And I wanted to get your thoughts on Nigeria's education sector in terms of how well it's funded. I think we have 14 million children out of school. President Buhari will be in London for 2 weeks. I think he's also going to be getting his medical checkup. He canceled his last trip. Maybe it was pressure from the public, and now he's going, with this summit in line, and then going to get his medical checkup. Before we get to healthcare, I just want to get on education, because besides that, I hear ASU is threatening to go on strike again. Governor El Rufai of Kaduna, apparently they've suspended schools indefinitely in Kaduna because of what's going on there. Education in Nigeria. So I just wanted to put all these together. You and I are both here. Valentine is here because of our respective educations, right? So what do you make? I guess let's start with President Buhari's trip, first of all. Is Nigeria in a place to be making any pledges towards financing education at a global level with Kenya and the UK when we've got our own serious education challenges back home? I want to start with that.
Yeah, I think to start with, you agree with me that education is so underfunded. I mean, in Nigeria, I mean, it's grossly underfunded. If you follow through with ASU and their demands, it says a lot about the quality of education in Nigeria. I mean, again, because development also does not exclude the human capital. I mean, the skill sets is quite important in the development of a nation. So again, it gives you an idea of the quality of minds that you will expect to be shunned out, in these setups, in these environments. I mean, take a look at public universities. Apart from the fact that facilities are so inadequate, now having to deal with lecturers not being paid as they claim is also something to also that's quite worrisome. I mean, how do you expect people to go teach when they are not being paid? How do you expect them to do research? I mean, and research is very important. I mean, every nation should thrive more on research. You are able to come up with innovative ways to get things done. And so those are the many ways because they underfunding the education sector would impact on the economy. One is the fact that it affects the commitments of the people who are supposed to impact knowledge on the people, on students. Two, it affects the quality of minds that are being shown out from the universities. It affects employers who are trying to get the best out of the best set of laborers to get the job done. It affects economic growth because at the end of the day, you need innovative minds to get things done in the economy. And so, looking at it from the standpoint of then going to pledge, pledging to support education in other countries. Well, I think, to be fair, we definitely are not in a place for that now. Because if you look at what is going on in Nigeria at the moment, it'll be interesting to see if that's really what the government is willing to do. But I think that at this point, a lot needs to be done with regards to the Nigerian educational sector to revive it. It's close to being in shambles, if you ask me. I think a lot needs to be done. One from capex spending, two from adequate remuneration of lecturers to allow for commitment in delivering their duties, and a number of things as well. And so I don't think that we're in a good place to kind of fund other people's educational sector when we have our schools that are funded.
And what about the role that insecurity is playing here to disrupt Nigeria's economic structure? When we talk about inflation, if we go back to the MPC meeting you're just talking about the deceleration in headline inflation. You're talking about food basket, harvest season is coming up. We're expecting month on month to possibly moderate and also moderate year on year. But insecurity has played a role in disrupting food supplies. It's also now touching on what's happening in Kaduna with this breaking news of them wanting to indefinitely suspend schooling. How much of that as a factor needs to be addressed? Insecurity in Nigeria, in fact, it's affecting education, food, and so on and so forth.
To be honest, we need to address, because insecurity has always been an issue. In Nigeria, if you look at the supply chain, for instance, you will agree with me that we can actually do much more with regards to supplying food. Although we don't have the potential to service the domestic demand, but we're not also living up to our own potential as a nation. One is the fact that we have farmer elder crisis, farmers being scared to go to their farmlands, not being able to do their best with regards to their farmland because they are afraid of being attacked, And so all of those affects the number of outputs you see from all of those farmlands, the volume of food supply, and of course it tickles into higher pricing, And those are factors that's one of the ways it affects affects inflation as well. But again, if you look at the Kaduna story, Governor El-Rufai was talking about trying to flush out bandits and keeping people in their homes so that that can be adequately done. And I think that if this had been addressed a long time ago, I mean, we won't be in this situation by now. But again, it needs to be addressed if you ask me. So, but I think that insecurity is not just going to affect food. It's not going to affect people not going to school. It's affecting the economy as a whole. Because as a matter of fact, these children are at home. They're not being impacted on. I don't think we are so sophisticated for online studying. I mean, as it were, because of network disruptions and the rest. And so there's this detachment. There's this detachment from being added to regards to value, and that again affects them as well. Affects the economy because they're not able to get the best out of the people, and that's the way it goes on and on and on like that. So insecurity is an issue that affects not just food, not just security. It affects the economy as a whole, and then if not coped, it's one of those things that we know can actually steal food Nigerian good potential. You agree with me that Nigeria is not growing at its potential. Nigeria's growth level is you will expect Nigeria to go faster than developed nations. So when you say developed nation posting faster growth than Nigeria, which is quite still developing, of course, you know that a number of factors are holding it back from its potential, its good potentials. And one of those factors is like you already mentioned.
Great stuff, Olayemi. Thank you so much. It's heavy stuff that we have to deal with as far as that's concerned. Again, we've been talking to Olayemi Olamofe, who is a research analyst with ARM Securities. And don't forget, folks, the ARM app for securities trading, for buying stocks, you can do that at the convenience of your mobile phone or from your laptops or computers. Val.
Fantastic. Yes, messages. DJ Chuk says, can you explain what's happening with Oando shares? What's the outlook of it, outlook for it? And Baby says, Rotus, in this era of shrinkflation, MPC rates does not matter, as will further aid the fast nosedive to economic stagflation. However, it says CBN should release more money for spending so we can forcefully mitigate this enveloping income or incoming famine and hunger. Just like we rightly predicted, CBN crypto money e-Naira after the crypto Bitcoin ban in Nigeria. Solution is in our hands. Thank you, Benito. Imo from Ikeja says, I don't get it. 34% of African students in the UK are Nigerians. Education is poor in Nigeria, and our president is attending an education summit in the UK. He said, please, I don't understand. I need some clarity. Help me understand. Benga Kamu says, does Buhari need to go to London for solutions to educational problems? He went for a medical trip. The summit is just a ruse. And he adds that insecurity in Nigeria, yet NYSC is sending corpers to Kaduna to serve. Closure of borders is the reason food prices are going up. Matthew says, if we say that the quality of education is underfunded in Nigeria, the quality is underfunded in Nigeria, let's also bear in mind that the cost of education is expensive. If education is not subsidized, most people will not be able to send their children to school. And he adds that then many people will realize that university education is not only the way to get educated. Yinka says, Rotus, 12 kilogram of gas is 6,000 naira. All right.
That's correct. To fill up to fill up a gas cylinder, prices just keep going up. They keep. Thank you all your messages.
I mean, just yesterday it was 3,005. From 3,000, it's just climbing steadily. Something
just going up.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Olayemi, thanks a lot.
All right. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure.